The next one that goes with the blasphemy, right? The blasphemy of the Jews is several things. It's not just one thing. It's they oppose the gospel. I read that to you already. Now we are wrapping up. They denied the deity of Christ. That's what we just talked about. The next thing they rejected the messiahship claim of Jesus. Hence, they rejected the only sacrifice for sin, the only payment for sin in the eyes of a holy God. This is coming out of John chapter 19. Look, let's go look at it, and we're going to close with this. Okay? John chapter 19. And this again, folks, when you put all this stuff together, all of it, you can get a pretty good picture of what's going on. All right? Look at this. Look at the context of what's happening here. So they dragged Jesus before Pilate. All right? So Pilate took him in chapter 18, they bring him in and all that stuff, right? And why? Because they challenged Pilate and said, hey, look, if you let this man go, we're gonna tell Caesar that there's a man over here claiming to be a king, and you let him go. They threatened him, they blackmailed him. So Pilate took Jesus and he scourged him, right? And the soldiers did all this stuff, right? So he brings him out. He says, hey, he presented them to all the Jews. Now the Jews went back and they stirred up all the people, convinced the people. So it was rigged, friends. They convinced the people to shout, hey, don't believe Jesus. And they blackmailed them too and said, hey, if you do this, if you want Jesus, we're going to kick you out of the temple. You won't be able to come to the temple anymore. You won't be able to participate in sacrifices anymore. They blackmailed the people. So Jesus came out wearing his crown, and he says, hey, look, behold, your savior, your king. And look, the chief priest, who did this? Who did this? The people in charge of the Jewish nations. Here you have right here, the Jews. So when you see in the book of John, and he's saying the Jews, these are the people that he's talking about. He isn't talking about the entirety of the nation. There was a small remnant of people that did believe in Jesus. Excuse me. So when they saw him, they cried out saying, crucify him, crucify him. Pilate said to them, you take him, you crucify him, for I find no fault with him. And the Jews said, hey, we have a law. And they were right. According to our law, he ought to die because he made himself the Son of God. You see, he made himself God with the same nature and essence of God. Look at Pilate, folks. Oh my goodness. He knew Jesus was going around doing miracles. He heard all this stuff that Jesus did. Therefore, when Pilate heard this, he was more afraid. He was already afraid of Jesus because he thought Jesus had the power to do something to him. Remember, Pilate was a pagan. He had the same belief, a Roman belief, in all these deities who looked like humans. So this wasn't something strange to Pilate, right? He heard about the prophets before. So he knew what was going on. Why was he more afraid? Because Jesus was saying that he was a member of the gods. So in Pilate's mind, Jesus was a member of the gods, not God himself, but a member of the gods. That's why he became more afraid. And the folk legend of these gods is that they were very, very vengeful. If you mess with them, they did stuff to you. That was the Roman belief. That was all the pagan gods believed. They were gods of simply destruction and wrath and all this stuff. They had no mercy. So Pilate became even more afraid, and he wanted to let him go there. He went again into the praetorium and said to Jesus, "Hey man, where you from?" That's why he asked him that question. And if Jesus would have said that I came from the heavens, from one of the gods, I guarantee you Pilate would have let him go. He wouldn't have cared nothing about what the Jews said. And Jesus said here, you know, Pilate, he told Pilate, Pilate told him, "Hey, why are you not speaking to me? I can let you go, man. I got power to let you go." And look what Jesus says. You got no power over me. It had been delivered to you. And from that time, Pilate sought to release him. Why? Because he understood what Jesus was saying.